Greetings, this is Ari from Israel, Sunday, March 1st, 2026, and this is the second update after the joint attack by Israel and the United States against Iran. Thanks for watching. Far from what many thought, the conflict is intensifying as the hours go by. We are talking about a real decapitation strike against the Iranian regime. Both Washington and Jerusalem, and even the Iranian media, have fully confirmed that Iran's supreme leader, Ali Khamenei, has been eliminated, along with dozens of high-ranking officials. We're talking about 48 top commanders just in the first attack. The heads of the regime eliminated and confirmed so far, apart from Supreme Leader Khamenei, include Mojtaba Khamenei, who is the son of Supreme Leader Khamenei, had been designated as his father's natural successor and was eliminated along with him yesterday. After the death of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, the Iranian regime, very early today, initiated the constitutional succession process, and it appointed an interim leadership council to assume the duties of the office while a new leader is chosen, since his son had also died. One of the key members of this triumvirate was Ayatollah Ali Reza Arafi, who was chosen as the temporary leader today, which obviously made him an Israeli target. And apparently, according to some sources, but without official confirmation, he may have been eliminated in tonight's attacks. So, most likely we will start to see what happened at the time with the leadership of Hezbollah, which in just 1 week had 4 leaders. After the elimination of Nasrallah, it took less time for Israel to eliminate the successor than it did to appoint one. All right, and pay attention, because after tonight's attacks, the IDF confirmed that the very famous former president of Iran, Mohammad Ahmadinejad, was also eliminated in one of the heavy bombings recorded in Tehran. Ahmadinejad was the same one who, a few years ago, openly bet that Israel would disappear from the map at the hands of Iran. He was one of the main advocates for the construction of the Iranian nuclear bomb. And the attack power of the joint forces of Israel and the United States is simply devastating for the interests of the Iranian regime. In every sense, we can say it. Netanyahu today made a statement that does not go unnoticed. He said, "Our forces are now in the heart of Tehran." That, in plain language, in real terms, means that very precise operations in command centers and precision strikes are being carried out against the brain of the regime. Understanding that Iran is now a completely open sky for Israeli and American fighter jets, literally, the planes of the joint forces fly over the entire Iranian territory without any impediment. And just before starting to record this report, a new round of attacks by Iran against Israel took place. And official sources here in Israel confirmed that the missiles used in this latest barrage are missiles with cluster warheads. This indicates that, indeed, Iran is beginning to use its heaviest arsenal against the civilian population of Israel. This type of missile releases multiple submunitions in the air, increasing the impact radius and the risk in urban areas, which is where the impacts are occurring. Yesterday was the third one, and today I have some very unfortunate news for you about a direct hit in Beth Shemesh. I'll tell you about that in a moment. Right now, you're watching on screen the video recorded by an Israeli citizen while this type of missile, which is much more robust, was being intercepted. Today, all sorts of things have happened. I want to start with a high-intensity operation involving B-2 stealth bombers, the American ones. We're talking about 4 B-2 Spirits flying, a round-trip mission. Listen carefully, a 36-hour mission from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri, that is, from the United States to the heart of Iran. 4 planes, and that's an important part of the available fleet. And what stands out the most is not just the long flight they undertook, it's the ammunition used in the war of June 2025, what some call Phase 1. The use of the GBU-57, the gigantic bunker-busting bomb, was mentioned to strike precisely the deep nuclear facilities like Fordo and Natanz. But now, in this Phase 2 today, the focus has changed. They're talking about using the GBU-31, the JDAM, which is 2,000 pounds. And each B-2 would have carried 16 of these bombs for a total of 64 guided munitions. And what does this change mean? In simple terms, it means the target would no longer be the nuclear program, since it was hit last year, but rather to empty Iran's conventional arsenal, which includes the depots, the shallower tunnels, and especially the ballistic missile stockpiles. In other words, to take away the claws with which Iran is currently responding. While this was happening today, Israel and the United States continued hammering Tehran. There was another massive wave of airstrikes in the Iranian capital. Dozens of Israeli fighter jets, coordinated with U.S. forces, completed a new round of attacks. Direct hits were reported on two very sensitive targets, but actually there were multiple targets, with one in particular. The headquarters of the Internal Security Forces is described as the command and control center responsible for communications. The High Command and the regime's forces on the ground. In addition, it is identified as part of the internal repression apparatus against the Iranian people. And second, the Sarala headquarters, according to the information released, was completely destroyed. It is described as a main base for the defense of Tehran against military threats, one of the strategic centers of the Iranian regime's defensive system. Before I dive in, I want to share with you the story of this vial, which amazed me and I think you should know about too. This vial holds an unbelievable story that was unheard until now. Inside is earth from the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, rescued by archaeologists after thousands of years of history were dumped as rubble. It is our opportunity to prevent history from disappearing. Start the new year with a personal connection to Jerusalem. Click the link in bio or scan the code to enjoy a special offer. There is talk of another wave of attacks, specifically against air defense systems right in the center of Tehran. Targets, anti-aircraft positions, hostile launchers, ballistic missile networks. And again, reports of explosions and columns of smoke in different parts of the city. That is to say, literally, they were bombing different locations, not only Tehran, the capital, but all over the country for several hours. And here comes a key operational detail that, in practice, sets the pace of this war. More than 700 fighter jet sorties and missiles and munitions launched were reported, only counted from Israel in these 2 days of war so far. The official narrative is that there is absolute air superiority over Tehran, and that ballistic missile launchers, command centers, Iranian defense systems, and regime command centers are being targeted. Along those same lines, another important point is the Barrage base in Tehran, which was completely destroyed. Barrage is the voluntary paramilitary militia, subordinate to the Revolutionary Guard and created after the revolution, very well known for its role in internal control and repression. When there are protests, hitting this is not just a military issue, it's striking the internal muscle of the regime, which is used to generate all the oppression against Iranian society. The Israeli Defense Minister, Israel Katz, also came out with a very strong statement. He said that the operation will continue as long as necessary and that they will not stop until all objectives are achieved. He thanked Netanyahu for his leadership and for the political alliance with the President of the United States, Donald Trump. Attacks were also reported at the Shahid Bagesti port in southeastern Iran. What we are seeing are not isolated operations. It's a systematic dismantling of the military chain, depots, command nodes, radars, missile warehouses, command complexes. 8 Iranian cities were attacked simultaneously by Israeli and United States air forces, operating from aircraft carriers, from regional bases and stealth platforms, which Iran at this very moment cannot detect. A spokesperson for the Israeli military summed it up this way: the very core of the regime is being attacked. Ballistic missile systems, military capabilities, air defenses and missiles, both surface-to-surface and surface-to-air missiles, and command and control targets, all in coordination and cooperation with the United States. And if this is what is being done as part of the alliance between the United States and Israel in this war, then the question now is, how did Iran respond? Well, let me tell you, what Iran is doing is crazy. A massive Iranian response has been reported, with 1,484 attacks in total in just these 2 days, 591 with missiles and 893 with drones. The most serious thing is the range. Listen carefully. 11 countries were hit or attacked by the Iranian offensive, something never seen before in this modern era. The list circulating with the number of attacks carried out by Iran is as follows: 97 missiles and 283 drones. United Arab Emirates, 167 missiles and 541 drones, with most of them intercepted. A good interception capability from the country of the United Arab Emirates. As for attacks on Israel, more than 200 missiles, 66 missiles. And other countries attacked are Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Oman, which we just talked about, Syria, and Cyprus. And this last one, Cyprus, is not a minor detail. It is reported that Iran launched 2 ballistic missiles toward this country, one aiming to hit the British airbase at Akrotiri, the other targeting the Tekhelia base. Both are British sovereign territory, more than 200 missiles over the island. Translated, Iran would be attacking the territory of a NATO member. This could radically change this conflict because for years Europe saw Iran's missile program as an issue for Israel. Today, with missiles flying toward British installations in Cyprus, the message is that if Iran can, it will expand the fire. And that brings Europe into a conversation that, until now, they didn't want to have. And in the midst of Iran's multiple attacks across the region, today Israel suffered a very hard blow. At around 1:40 in the afternoon, in the midst of a wave of 37 ballistic missiles fired at Israel in Beit Shemesh near Jerusalem, a missile struck directly and caused the death of at least 9 people, leaving 51 injured. The police reported damage to the system from the first of the multiple attacks, while search and rescue operations continued among the rubble. According to security officials, before the impact, there was an interception attempt that failed and, most concerning, the Arrow system did not fire at that missile. The obvious question immediately arose: are there not enough interceptors? Is their use being rationed? Officials deny that there is a policy to limit interceptors. The officials who, so far, Iran has launched less than half the missiles it fired during the first days of the previous operation in June. But it's time, Iran. At this moment, Iran has launched less than half the missiles it fired during the first days of the previous operation in June. The defense is not airtight, it's not perfect, it's not 100% at the moment. Iran has launched missiles. Penetration is obvious. The impact leaves us with these unfortunate images. The explosion brought down the roof of the shelter where a synagogue was operating, and the impact almost destroyed 8 homes in the complex. Emergency teams, home front command units, and firefighters are still working at this hour of the night. And here is the main conclusion. This, he emphasizes, because the threat of surface-to-surface missiles is literally an existential threat. That's why the Army is warning that difficult, complex days are coming, and it promises a systematic campaign against Iran's missile industry and against the regime's apparatus of repression. Now is the time for you to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you'll know when I upload a new video. And if you want to receive daily direct notifications with updates about what's happening here every day, straight to your WhatsApp, know that the channel memberships are active, which give you access to this group where we share videos, images, and, well, all the news about what's happening every day. All right, shall we move on to the naval war now? The United States had confirmed the sinking of the Iranian frigate Khamenei in the Gulf of Oman. On the other hand, Iran claims it attacked the aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln with 4 missiles. From Washington, they have stated that the editing of the videos of the two videos of the series of videos of the series of the two videos show that the aircraft carrier was not hit, but at the same time it is acknowledged that there are casualties. 3 soldiers were killed and 5 were wounded in the Iranian attacks on U.S. land bases. And this conflict at sea leads us to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has declared its closure and attacks on ships are being reported. The case of the oil tanker Skyline attacked off the coast of Oman has emerged. In addition, it is mentioned that the Revolutionary Guard attacked 2 oil tankers for not complying with closure orders. That means Iran would be trying to set fire to the main maritime choke points in the region. And if anyone is wondering why this is important, it's because of oil and global trade. And Hormuz, and from Hormuz, and from Hormuz, from Hormuz. The market goes into panic, and that's why the word that is repeated in all the reports today appears, and that we're going to wait for. How does Black Monday turn out? Black Monday, with Asia about to open markets, with Hormuz closed, with oil tankers attacked, and with infrastructure hit in multiple countries? The logical thing is to expect brutal pressure on oil, on the price of oil, and on trade in general. Trade passes right through this place when the Strait is closed. Monday, trade. Markets with Hormuz, trade, and with infrastructure. The logical thing is to expect pressure. Trade oil, trade, and the price of oil, trade. Global oil, and in general oil. Trade. In all markets, gold has skyrocketed now. A fact that for me is one of the most unsettling of the day. As I told you, Iran didn't just fire at Israel. Among the countries attacked, today the attack on Oman is being reported, and Oman is not just any player. Oman is the country that has historically maintained its neutrality, and in this case, it was the mediator in negotiations between the United States and Iran. Until the very day of the outbreak, in fact, the Iranian foreign minister himself, Abbas Araghchi, made a statement today that sounds like a total loss of control by the regime. He said that what happened in Oman was not their decision, that they had already instructed the armed forces to be careful with the targets, and that some units would now be acting independently, isolated, acting under general instructions given in advance before the war. This, read without any sugarcoating, means only one thing. When the chain of command breaks, the risk of mistakes and escalation multiplies. And we are seeing it precisely in what is happening through all their deployment, which is breaking all the limits. And if that weren't enough, Iranian state media released a video talking about plans to attack U.S. bases in the region with F-4 Phantom jets, and they show it. It's the video you're seeing on the screen, with a whole promotional tone. Old planes? F-4S, and the point isn't the plane, the point is the intention. Well, yes, it's also about the plane, but the intention here is that they're going after American targets. Iranian skies. Now, the latest generation F-22s and F-35s from the United States and Israel operate freely, so the joke seems to tell itself. All right, and to wrap up, I'll share with you the information that's slowly starting to circulate about the details of the elimination of the supreme leader of the regime, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. It is claimed that there was a joint operation between the Israeli Mossad and the CIA. They tracked Khamenei for months, mapping his movements and pattern of life. Intelligence then detected an unusual meeting scheduled for yesterday morning. Republic, the President of the Republic, the President of the Republic, the one from the Republic, the President of the Republic, Republic, the Republic, Republic, President, President of the... A meeting where the main Iranian leaders were summoned to a complex in downtown Tehran with confirmed attendance by Khamenei and his son. A real and narrow window of opportunity that could not be missed. The intelligence information was quickly transmitted to Israel, which was forced to change its plans. Instead of the nighttime attack, which was planned for Saturday night, it was recalibrated to a daytime attack to maximize the opportunity that was being presented. The compound was hit and was completely destroyed, and Khamenei was eliminated along with the high-ranking officials, including top security and senior government leaders. Most likely, we will be addressing many more details about how this operation was carried out. As the days go by, as a final assessment, we can say that the United States carried out one phase against the strategic core and another against missiles. Iran, having lost its leadership and part of its naval capabilities, is trying to drag the region into the abyss. Before falling, as they say, if I go down, we all go down. The big question is, what's next? In the coming hours? Iran maintains the real closure of the Strait of Hormuz if it attempts more strikes against United States bases. And what if Europe, with missiles already flying toward British territory in Cyprus, decides to get fully involved in this story, as the United Kingdom has already done, deploying its fleet and even participating in several of the attacks against Iran? For my part, I will closely follow everything that happens every day. Join me in this update. Subscribe, share this video, and don't leave without giving it a like. See you. Thank you.